morning or afternoon, depending on where you're at. Welcome to our webinar today on digital entertainment and signage program for laundromats, otherwise known as Atmosphere TV, which some of you may be familiar with. We're lucky today to have Mike Kelly, who is the Senior Director of Strategic Partnerships, who's going to go through some of the features and benefits of putting Atmosphere into your laundromats. This session or this webinar will be recorded, so you can get the recording afterwards in case you have to step away or you want to go back through it. And if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the chat and we will get to those. All right, so Mike, I'm going to turn over presenter mode to you, or actually I'm going to stop sharing and then you should be able to share your presentation.
Perfect.
Yep.
Y'all see it here?
Yep. See it and hear it.
Beautiful. Great to e-meet everybody. I'm sure I've met some of you in the past. Some of you may already even have Atmosphere. So if you do, great, thank you. We'll get into some of the new features and content and all the bells and whistles that we've added over the last few years. And then I'm planning to stop for questions probably 2 or 3 times throughout the presentation. I know we have an hour booked. I don't think we'll need quite that much time. So we'll give a little time back to everybody. But in so many words, Atmosphere is designed to be an entertainment and digital signage solution for laundromats. And I'll get into who we are, how we do it, who we do it for, and all the great stuff right now. Let's see here. Cool. Okay. So Atmosphere TV is, of course, a TV platform. So we were built in 2016 on the idea of, at that time, what are people watching in a bar or restaurant when there's no sports on? And our founders at the time said, wow, we're watching Fox and CNN and Judge Judy and, Talking Heads and CSI and content that didn't really make a ton of sense, in a bar setting. Basically we wanted to build at what we considered that time kind of like beer drinking TV, short form, audio free, fun, exciting, quick hitting content to make people smile, make them laugh, entertain. And then at that time, hopefully keep them sitting a little bit longer, spending more money, eating, drinking, hanging out at the bar. What we started to find over time was we were getting requests from gyms and barbershops and tattoo shops and cruise ships and airports and medical facilities and laundromats and everywhere in between who were all interested in content that was built for their space. Turns out people don't want to watch CSI when they're at the dentist office, waiting for an appointment. So we wanted to build a platform of non-controversial, no closed captions, content built for all sorts of businesses. And now fast forward from when we started in 2016, now we service around 65,000 businesses from the US to Canada and Australia, Western Europe, UK, and seemingly everywhere in between. Built on the model of, instead of charging our customers, the end user, laundromats in this case, we charge our advertisers. So we've designed the platform to be free for all users. And I'll get into a little bit more of that right now. So we like to believe that we've fixed TV outside the living room. So again, when you find yourself in an airport, you find yourself in a laundromat, you find yourself in a space, typically TV historically was built for one-to-one in-home use. Of course, you sit down, you watch a live sporting event, or you watch something on Netflix or something on cable programming. It's meant for you sitting down, watching a screen, hearing the sound, etc. Nothing had really been built for loud business environments. So you think about laundromats where the washers and dryers are running constantly and people are talking or maybe music's playing. A content solution that would make sense for those types of spaces. So our whole goal was to fix TV outside the living room, again, starting in 2016, and now fast forward, we believe that we've accomplished just that. Just a little quick snapshot of where we are. Of course, bars, restaurants, gyms, hotels, tons of laundromats, thousands of laundromats, and kind of everywhere in between. This is just a quick graph on our growth since we started. Obviously, we had that little dip in 2020 during the COVID times, which was difficult for everybody, but actually ended up being a great place for us to kind of rise from the ashes. That's actually when we started working with the CLA and we started to find that cable programming and TV programming as a whole was sort of a pain point for a lot of laundromat owners. So we came out of 2020 much better than we were entering. Obviously, we had that dip, but now growing year over year. All right, so now I'm going to jump into our content. So what is Atmosphere? What type of content runs? So Atmosphere now has 30 plus channels of all sorts of different content built for all sorts of different audiences, all sorts of different DMAs and types of folks. So you might recognize Chive TV. That was our first channel that we built in 2016. Again, that was kind of built as beer drinking, bar TV, funny, goofy, viral videos, surfing dogs, skydiving, surfing, skiing, whatever you might find. And then since then, we've now branched off to 30 plus channels of all sorts of different types of content. So we have everything from, an automotive channel to you want puppies and kittens and babies and cutesy happy type stuff. We've got Happy TV. We're partnered with the PGA Tour, so we have a lot of golf content, fitness content. If you have a segment of TV that you might be interested in, chances are it's on Atmosphere at this point. One thing that we've entered into that's new this year is a lot more live sports. So we've jumped into now streaming a lot of live events on Atmosphere. And the way that works is when we partner with bring on a new partner to do a live event, we message all of our customers and we give them the option to opt into the live event. And what'll happen is if you say, yes, I want the Dallas Stars game to come on when the puck drops, our device will actually tune you into the Dallas Stars game and then tune you back to whatever Atmosphere channel that you were playing prior. It's a really great way to obviously get live sports onto the platform because live sports are important to a lot of venues. And it just shows that the power and capability that we have from a technology standpoint to constantly improve the product and make something that all walks of life can enjoy. So we've broadcast everything from National Hockey League to golf events to a lot of the really cool Red Bull events like Red Bull Flugtag, where they fly the crazy man-made airplanes off of that pier, which you may have seen. We just did their soapbox race. We're doing lots of stuff with One Fight Night, which is a UFC competitor. Again, just showing the diversity in the live programming that we're bringing to the network. And we have some big announcements coming soon for some fall live programming that we're going to bring on as well. One thing that we changed as well in the last few years was bringing more sports to Atmosphere. So prior to a few years back, we were kind of the anti-cable. So we didn't do a lot of things that cable did. We were mostly what we call video on demand, which is your Chive TV and your Red Bull TV and channels like that. What we started to find was people were looking for a sports center alternative. So obviously a lot of business owners are also sports fans. They feel as though their customer base are also sports fans. So we wanted to build a sports center competitor that was not two people talking on a screen on mute with closed captions and subtitles. We wanted to build a sports center competitor that actually showed sports highlights. What a concept. So if you remember SportsCenter back in the probably early 2000s and 90s, it was basically just highlights from the night before and scores. And it was kind of the heyday of SportsCenter and ESPN. Since then, it's changed. It's a lot of podcasting and it's a lot of talk shows and things, which don't really fit well into a business environment. So we launched Atmosphere Sports, which is, again, our version of SportsCenter, built audio free with just the highlights, just the breaking news, betting lines, scores from the night before, and all updated live and in real time. So this is one of our two live channels on Atmosphere and a great way to get sports into your laundromat, without talking heads on the screen. And this is a little sizzle reel for Atmosphere Sports. What a chunk when my head got a bomb when I hit it on the radio. Right? So the way to look at Kevin said, need a bag and that's on ya. You can drink the water, I'm gonna sting around the collar and I don't need a microphone. Oops. Okay. In similar fashion, we started to get it, again, when we built Chive TV in the early days, we wanted to kind of be the anti-news platform. News is generally jarring and polarizing, and if you choose the right channel, then you're drawing a line in the sand. If you choose the left channel, you're drawing a line in the sand. There's really no way to make everybody happy when you're showing news in a business setting. So we wanted to build a news channel that, again, was no right, no left, no opinion, just what's going on in the world. And the way we do that is, of course, number one, we have no personalities giving their opinion, which is the best way to deliver news to a mass audience. So, in similar fashion to our sports channel, it looks very similar the way it's cut. We've got a ticker on the bottom, which will show local temperatures. It'll also have some breaking news in sports or breaking news in whatever might be happening in the world. There'll be a Q on the left, which will tell you the next story that's coming up. And then, of course, we'll have the main story front and center with a quick blurb on what's going on. So it's not designed to be, again, controversial or create some crazy conversation. It's just there to give you basic news and what's going on in the world. And here's a little sizzle reel on Atmosphere Now. This one doesn't have the fun music. All right, so there it is, Atmosphere Now. So I'll pause there for a moment. Without showing you guys, I could take you through every single channel and keep you here all day. If you go to atmosphere.tv/channels, you can see all the content live. Like I said, we've got news, sports, entertainment. We've now got a live trivia channel where your customers can quite literally play trivia live on our app on your TVs. Everything from, like I said, puppies and kittens and babies to cutesy happy type things, and skiing and snowboarding and surfing and everywhere in between. So if there's a type of content you might be interested in or you think your customers might be interested in, chances are we have it. If we don't, and you have a suggestion, we're all ears. We're always open to ideas for new channels and new content. But I'll pause there for a moment and take any questions.
We don't have anything in chat, but I'm going to ask a question on behalf of the attendees. Do you have channels in other languages? Because a lot of our owners are Hispanic would probably be the highest population that some of our laundromats are in.
Yeah, we don't. The only content that really requires any sort of speak English speaking understand is news and sports, because it'll have obviously the story headline and a ticker on the bottom. Beyond that, the remainder of the 28 or so channels shouldn't require any sort of language. There should be no language barrier, so it should be
Okay.
agnostic.
Everybody loves puppies and kitties.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what language you speak.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
No questions yet, but if you want to keep going, and again, oh, sorry, we do have one. Can you control it remotely? Someone's asking.
Yes, you can. So I'll get to that a little bit in the device portion. But from our backend portal, you can physically change the channel on the TV or TVs running in your stores. So whether you have one mat or you have 100, you could actually physically, if you believe Atmosphere Sports should be the only thing playing on all your screens at all times, you can see which of your locations are playing which channel, and you could actually physically go in there and change the channel. Another thing that our device does, and these are our new devices, so if anyone's seen us before, this might be news to you. Our new devices, based on your hours of operation, will actually automatically turn the TV on first thing in the morning for you. So our device will tune to the Atmosphere HDMI input. It'll turn the TV on and it'll start playing content. So one less thing for your staff to do. One less blank screen, hopefully, and just hopefully one of those things that takes the remote control out of the hands of anybody else but the owner of the business.
Nice feature. No more questions as of now. So if you want to keep going and again, put your question in the chat if you have it as Mike continues.
Perfect. Thank you. This slide basically just kind of covers everything I just chatted about. It's us versus cable. We're not necessarily always built to replace cable. It depends what you believe is important. So in a laundromat setting, more often than not, we'll replace cable. What we found with most of our laundromat partners is they prefer to use us in place of cable. Number one, obviously, we're a free service. So if you have one mat or you have 100, you save yourself $100 or $150 a month, per location in cable fees. If you believe live sports are important or live TV, cable programming is important, you can use Atmosphere right alongside cable. It doesn't need to be one or the other. So, there's no sort of conflict of interest or anything like that. The only requirement that we have from our end users is that Atmosphere is used for at least 40 hours per month. So as long as the device is running in some capacity, for that minimum amount of time, there's no charges or fees or anything like that. So if you like cable on a couple TVs, but you want to mix it up and not have, a superhero TV show on mute during the middle of the day, Atmosphere can supplement cable or fully replace it. All right, into the dashboard features. So this is awesome. This is where you go and manage everything associated to your account and your venues. The dashboard, like I mentioned earlier, can not only controls the content running on your screens, but it also is the place that you'll go to run your digital messaging on your screens too. So if you guys are running, fluff and fold specials or maybe a special student pricing if you're in like a university area, or whatever marketing messaging you want to get onto your screens, it could be something as simple as happy birthday to your favorite employee. You can send content and messaging in real time directly to any of your screens with a few clicks. So if you have one store or you have 100, you can send that same message or differing messages to your stores very quickly. As far as what the dashboard looks like and what each thing kind of means here, if you look to the left, you'll see devices meeting goals. So this goes back to the 40-hour per month minimum requirement that we have. You'll be able to see which locations have a device or devices offline. So in this fake example, you've got 8 out of 10 devices meeting goal and 2 are at risk of falling below that 40-hour mark. And once you see that, you can simply just check on the device, see what might be going on. Maybe the internet went out, or maybe it was unplugged for one reason or another. The middle spot you're seeing here is estimated ad value. So, as an ad-driven business ourselves, of course we sell commercials, in a similar fashion to cable. Obviously, no competitor ads. You're not going to see an ad for a laundromat across the street or anything like that. But what we do is give you an ad slot that theoretically we could have used for ourselves. And so we'd like to give you the estimated ad value of that ad slot based on how many promotions that you're running within your queue. So really, this is just kind of like an FYI slide, like, hey, your ads ran 47,000 times, and the dollar value equivalent, if we were to charge you for that or charge an advertiser for that, in this case, is just under $9,000. And then you'll see to the right here which channels are running. So basically, you can see Alpine TV is running on 12 of your devices, Chive TV on 7, Happy on 7. In this case, you can go into the set channel option and you can change the channel or channels on your screens with a few clicks. This is another quick example of the digital signage manager. So like I mentioned, you could upload a image or a video. So any static image will be on the screen for 15 seconds. Any video will be up to 30 seconds. So if you have a 25-second video, it'll run for 25 seconds and then it'll go back to content. So there won't be any like 5-second blank screen or anything like that. If you have a static image, it'll be on the screen for 15 seconds. And the way the cadence works is it's 3 minutes, approximately 3 minutes of atmosphere content. And then the first ad slot belongs to you guys, the business owners. And that's for uploading, like I mentioned, your videos or images up to 30 seconds. The second ad slot belongs to us. And that's if we've sold something at that time in your region. It depends on what we call fill rate. And obviously, sometimes we might have an ad running in New York that's not running in LA, et cetera. And then it goes back to content. And you can upload as many promotions as you'd like into the queue, and they'll just rotate. So it'll be 3 minutes, promotion 1, 3 minutes, promotion 2, 3 minutes, promotion 3. And then once it's reached your final promotion, it'll go back to the top. You also see here which locations you want to send that message to. So before I get to that, actually, you can set days, dates, and times that this promotion runs. So if this is in this case, a July promotion, you want to make sure it doesn't bleed into August. You can set end dates. You could also set days of the week and times if you choose to. And then you can choose the venue or venues that you send that message to. For the sake of running a test here, I have a test airport account. So these would be laundromats, of course, but you'll see Terminal A, Gate 1, Terminal B, Fred Seafood. You just check the box of the location that you want to send that message to, because maybe for whatever reason maybe you're hiring in one store and not hiring in another. You want to make sure that message doesn't go to the wrong place. This is the channel scheduler. So this also allows you to create a content schedule based on time of day. So if you feel as though first thing in the morning when you guys open, let's say you open at 5 a.m., you want news to run from 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., you can set that schedule and then you can rotate through different channels during different times. So you'll see here on the right, I just set Chive TV as our default channel, which basically that just means it's the channel that'll run when you have nothing in the schedule. Atmosphere Sports will run from 6 to 9. Red Bull will run from 9 to 12. Atmosphere Now, our news channel, will run from 12 to 5. And then PGA Tour from 5 to 8. And if nothing else is programmed, then it'll just default back to Chive TV. Before I get into this, any questions on the digital signage or portal side of things? Uploading messaging, controlling content, accessing your venues and seeing the activity of your venues, anything along those lines?
Looks like no questions yet.
Okay, great. And then at the end, if anyone thinks of anything, I'll have time here at the end as well. This is what our device looks like, and also a quick message on the One Touch Play feature. So this is an optional feature. It automatically opts in. You have the ability to opt out. This is what I mentioned earlier, where the device will actually turn the device, or the device will turn the TV on based on your hours of operation. So first thing in the morning, you come in, I believe it's 30 minutes before the store is scheduled to open, the TV will flip on and start running atmosphere content. If you don't like that for whatever reason, it doesn't work for you, for one reason or another, let us know and we could disable that feature for any of our customers. And then this is a little bit more on the technical specs. You may or may not care about this stuff, but the device itself is quite small. My favorite comparison is it's about the size of a ham sandwich. Somebody said that a long time ago and it's just stuck. But it's a small device. It comes with Velcro. You simply Velcro it to the back of any of your screens. You connect it to Wi-Fi. So as long as you have a Wi-Fi network that's in halfway decent shape, you shouldn't have any trouble. You plug it into power and then of course into HDMI and then it just runs and it does its thing. So we know that the device we ship to you is connected to your account. So the messaging that you're sending to that device in that space is getting the correct messaging at all times. Lastly, our relationship with the CLA. So we've now been partners with the CLA for some time. We have special pricing for the CLA. So we normally have a one-time $49.99 activation fee associated with Atmosphere. The monthly fee is zero and designed to always be zero. So as long as you reach that minimum 40-hour per month usage. If you miss the 40-hour per month usage, there's a $20 inactivity fee. Frankly, we are not in the business of inactivity fees. We'd much rather your device be running and your customers happy and you happy. So we try to avoid that at all costs. But as I'm sure you can imagine, we have to make sure that devices are running and they're not, taken home, thrown away, put in an office and never turned on. So through our partnership with the CLA, you get 50% off the one-time activation fee. So it'll be $25. Sign up through the link, which I will actually drop into the chat here once we go back through any other questions. There is a specific link for the CLA that you'll want to use to make sure that you get this discount. The device ships. There's no long-term contract or agreement. So for whatever reason it doesn't work for you, you don't like it, your customers don't like it, your internet can't support it, you always have the ability to return at any time. Our return rate is incredibly low for what it's worth. What we do simply works. It makes people smile, makes them laugh, creates great energy in your space, and frees your screens of, divisive news stations and Judge Judy and Days of Our Lives. All right, so I'm going to exit this piece, and I could probably stop sharing, and I will drop the sign up link here into the chat. And while I'm pulling that up, if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Yeah. Feel free to add any questions for Mike in the chat. Yeah, I mean, I think what we hear from our members who use Atmosphere is easy and much less expensive. Don't have to worry about cable bills and all of that. So I know we have multiple operators who do use it already. And I feel like everywhere I travel, I see it. At many airports, I've watched Atmosphere.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I'm very proud of it. We are the largest streaming airport TV service in the world as well. So you'll find us in over 120 airports, mostly bars, restaurants, places like that within the airports. But we're very excited about that. I think the airport is the exact type of space that makes sense for audio-free programming, given how loud it is and all that. So yeah, just checking through the chat here. I dropped this in here. Great to see. It sounds like you all understand it. You all understand sports. That's awesome to hear. If you have any specific questions, I'll go ahead and drop my contact info in here as well.
Oh,
Then,
we do have a question that is actually in the question area. They want to
okay.
know how you create a store ad or promotion, because you talked about you are able to do that.
Yes, I'm sorry, this presentation doesn't show that piece. So essentially there's two options. You could either upload something that you've created yourself. So if you have a marketing agency that you use or creative people or anything like that, actually here, I'll show you how I did this one. I'm sure AI is a big conversation. It is amongst everybody.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
let me show you how I made this one. Let me share my right screen here, 1 second. We do have templates built in to Atmosphere that you can choose from. So basically, when you click the next option, it'll give you a bunch of different templates to choose from. I literally typed into ChatGPT, make me a graphic fluff and fold special 1920 by 1080 because that takes up the whole length of the screen as far as size goes. For a laundromat, and it whipped this up. So is it perfect? No, but it's pretty damn good for a 2 second chat GPT thing.
Yes.
You could also use Canva, which is a really good platform that's free on their
Mhm.
basic level. So you can go in there and create marketing collateral and graphics and just save it. But we do have templates built in there for you. You're welcome to use them. You can use Canva and save it and upload it, or you could upload your own images and videos if you have somebody creating those things for you.
It looks like there's a question. It says, with the promo, can we use it for signage instead of promos?
Uh,
Um,
do you mean signage instead of content, like just signage? Maybe that's what they mean.
Todd, maybe can you clarify? Yes, he said yes.
Yeah, so we don't do just signage. Reason being, we are designed as an entertainment forward product, and just to be transparent, uh, frankly, digital signage boards aren't super exciting. And the reason why we're content first is because we want people to actually look at that screen, interact with it, get excited about it, and then give you the opportunity to feed them your messaging, specials, features, events, LTOs, whatever. So what we found over time is that there's great digital menu board companies out there who do just signage, who do really nice digital menu boards and things like that. When it comes to using your TV screens, we found that entertainment first is a much more impactful way to get your message across versus just a rotating kind of like digital billboard. It's really hard to get people interacting with something that's either selling them all the time or just not quite as energetic and exciting. And hopefully that makes sense. So to answer your question, we don't do just digital signage. It's always going to be content with digital signage built in.
You gotta mix in those puppies and kitties and babies.
That's right.
And the cooking. I like the cooking channel.
Yeah, the cooking stuff's awesome. It's like everything from barbecue to baked goods and everywhere in between. And I actually found a lot of businesses like that because a lot of businesses throw on the food channel because there's usually somebody talking, but you can still kind of understand it when you see food being made. So
Yep.
our food channel is super popular.
Good in a restaurant. It'll make you hungry. So
Yes.
someone's asking, what about promoting neighboring businesses, like visit, whatever market next door for snacks and treats? I, I think you can, right? You could sell ad space to your if you're in a shopping center or
Yeah, what you do with your ad slot is entirely up to you guys. So if you're in a strip mall or complex things like that, and you have a neighbor who wants to cross promote with you, you certainly could, you certainly should. Feel free to pass them along our way. You can even pass along the CLA link there if you'd like to, and they can take advantage of it as well. In our opinion, again, that spot's up to you guys to use how you see fit. So if you have local partners who or vendors or anything like that that you'd like to promote on your screens, by all means, I encourage it.
um, oh, looks like we have one more question. Um, so someone's asking, so they just wanted to confirm to hook it up, it's just a HDMI.
Yeah, and power. So obviously, if you have a TV, there'll be power. So HDMI and power, we include all that in the box. And here, actually, I have one right here. So this is what it looks like when it shows up to your house or business, wherever you get it shipped. So inside will be the little device. It'll have your remote. So if you do want to control it, on site, you can do that, or you can control it remotely through the dashboard. It'll have your cable. It'll have your HDMI cord. It'll have your double-sided Velcro, so you can Velcro it to the back of the TV if you choose to. Everything you need to get set up, and it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes or so, as long as your TVs aren't, way up high on the ceiling.
I actually have a question. Can the people in the laundromat control the channels? Like, say somebody's sitting there, is there a remote that if they flipped around, they could move channels?
Totally an option. And I'm not the laundromat owner. What I've heard is many laundromats prefer not to give them that option.
Sure,
But
sure.
I know some do. I know some like your really local laundromats where you trust your customers, and they've been going forever. You give them the remote, let them play around. You certainly can. Of course, you're taking the risk that that remote walks out by accident.
Yeah, sure.
But you can. So there is a remote that comes with it. It is an option. But I just encourage you to be careful with it.
Yes, makes sense. Just want to see if it was an option. And there is, I know a lot of laundromats, it's families that come in. There is a children's channel. I know that's not one you showed, but programming for children.
Yes, we have several kids channels. Here, I'll pull up a couple of them right now. Most notably, in my opinion, my favorite kids channel is Happy TV. Again, it's your puppies, it's your kittens, it's your babies. It's really your kind of cutesy, happy stuff. We also have. I'm going to try to share this really quickly. We also have America's Funniest Home Videos. We have Angry Birds, which I know a lot of the kids like. Paws, which is a really popular one. So Paws is basically like the puppy and kitten version of Happy TV, where it's mostly just positive, happy animals, that type of thing. You're not going to find any shark attacks, even on Untamed. You're not going to find any shark attacks or alligator attacks or anything violent or graphic or anything along those lines. And then we also do, this is kind of pretty cool. We do pop-up channels fairly frequently. So during the holidays, we have like a Christmas/holiday themed channel. Our July 4th channel, I believe, is our next holiday channel coming up very soon. So it's all things America and patriotic and July 4th themed. We launched a new channel called Games as well, which is like kind of several brain games, things along those lines. But yeah, everything here, number one, is family friendly. But if you are looking for kid specific content, I point them to Happy, Angry Birds, and Paws most notably.
Okay. Um, got a few more questions here. So, um, do you access the dashboard on the TV or your phone or your computer? Which I think it's all, but you can answer that.
Phone and computer for dashboard. So when you sign up, you got to log into the dashboard. Um, you can access it on your phone. It's easier on your computer, just to be honest with you. It just flows a little bit better on your computer. So yeah, you could access the dashboard itself on your phone or computer, and then the actual interface itself on the screen with the remote kind of looks like Netflix. So it navigates very similarly, and we did that on purpose because people are used to the way Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu kind of navigate. So you basically just navigate the same way, choose your channel, press play on it, and it'll just go. But as far as like controlling the digital signage or changing the channels remotely, you could do that from your phone or your computer. And of course, you don't need to be at the mat. You could be on vacation in Hawaii.
Um, so when you talked about the people coming to the laundromat could, use the remote. If they do happen to walk out with it, someone's wanting to know how much is the replacement if you have to get a new remote?
It's a $60 replacement for the remote. So just keep that in mind. Again, it kind of goes back to there is risk of course associated. What I would suggest is if you have an attendant, maybe just put it in their hands or say, yeah, here you
Yeah.
can use the channel. Just make sure they get it back from you. Yeah, there is just obviously we know remotes go missing and not we don't have a single business segment where remotes don't disappear, and it's bars, restaurants, gyms, laundromats everywhere. So we certainly understand. Which is again why we build the backend dash so you can hopefully control it remotely and create. We also have playlists built in for you too. So if you don't want to create your own schedule, you can use one of our design playlists that'll basically rotate through a handful of channels that you might see fit.
Next question is, how often do the atmosphere ads run if you sell them in that market?
Yeah, so like I said, typically it's 3 to 4 minutes of atmosphere content, depending on the channel you choose, and then there's the ad break. The first ad slot, which frankly is the premium ad slot, belongs to the business, and that's up to 30 seconds for the laundromat. The second ad slot belongs to us, and that's anywhere between 30 and 60 seconds typically. So it's content, your ad slot if you use it, our ad slot if we've sold something, and then back to content. So at most, in a given hour, you might be talking, I don't know, maybe 12 minutes of ads, 10 minutes of ads. And that's based on like if we had 100% fill rate, which we don't have. So you would never see ads 100% of the time. Uh, no business like ours has 100% fill rate, just so you guys know. So uh, it shouldn't. It's number one, less frequent than cable, and should be far more infrequent than even that.
Um, Another question. So, one of our attendees is from Canada, and he's asking, can we Canadianize the content? I assume that'd be mostly like news, sports.
Yeah, I have to check. We have an international version of news and sports, and it's typically saved for the UK, but I have to see. That's a good question, and I might have to get back to you on that. I want to say, let me just write this down before I forget. Um, for example, the news and sports that we produce for uh, the UK is obviously a lot more soccer and forward, and obviously the news is more relevant to the UK news. So it's world. It'll still be world news, but it's weighted towards the UK.
Okay.
I believe Canada gets North American news and sports, which will obviously include hockey and things that are more traditionally Canada. But I have to see if there's if it's weighted differently. So might need a second to get back to you on that one.
Okay. So Sean is the one asking. He said he will contact you offline about this, and you can provide it. Great.
Great. Thanks, Sean.
Um, I believe that looks like the last of our questions. Give it just 1 second. Yeah. All right. Well, I have a couple just final slides just to show some upcoming events. If you have a question while I'm showing this, feel free to put it in the chat. I'll check one more time before we log off. Okay. So just a few additional resources from CLA. So we do have a Facebook group, Laundromat Professionals Network. So I know we said a lot of our operators use Atmosphere, good place to go and ask people, how it's working for them, how they use it, or any other questions that you have about your business. We do have a few upcoming virtual events today. If you feel like joining CLA one more time today, we have a women's laundry network. It's an initiative we started just for women in the industry, and we have kind of an open Q&A this afternoon at 1 o'clock Central Time. So if you have questions about the business or getting into the business, it's just a bunch of women who network and share ideas and can answer some of your questions. If you're newer to get into the business, monthly we have a webinar on how to start a laundromat, and the next one is June 10th. Our president, Brian Wallace, presents that. He typically has a guest store owner, I believe. Paul Hansen is the guest on the 10th, and Paul is from a family of laundromats, had several laundromats in the Chicago area. And then lastly, CLA works with some of our member companies as our strategic corporate allies. They help support the industry and CLA, and we have a showcase where they will demo their products. So we had one yesterday that was 4 different companies, and next week on the 11th from 12 to 2, we have 5 more companies. So if you go to the events calendar, you can see which companies and a lot more information about all of these programs. So as far as live events, we do local live dinner networking events across the country. So here's a list of the ones coming up. You can see we go from New Jersey all the way to California. Again, they're just 2-hour dinner events, good for networking, catching up with some of your peers, asking questions of the people there. Typically, they're anywhere from 25 to 50, so a much smaller group of individuals. And lastly, building up to the big show, the Clean Show, which is coming up August. The official dates of Clean are August 23rd through the 26th. But CLA does some of our own events at Clean for people in the laundry industry. If you've never been to Clean, it is huge. There are record settings this year for attendance and exhibitors, so probably somewhere around 12 to 14,000 people will be there, hundreds of exhibits. So CLA does activities for our industry to give you a chance to kind of network with people within the industry. So starting on Friday, we're doing a laundromat tour where you'll board a bus at the CLA host hotel. We'll take you around to 4 different laundromats in the Orlando area. One of the laundromats is also doing a Laundry Cares Foundation free laundry day, so you'll get to see one of those in action. Laundry Cares is doing a luncheon on Saturday for lunch. On Sunday, our Women's Laundry Network is doing a luncheon with a keynote speaker. She is the sports psychologist for the Chicago Bulls, so should be a great presentation. Sunday evening, CLA is celebrating our 65th anniversary with a reception. And then Monday, we're doing again a happy hour for women in laundry. So most of these events require registration and tickets, and some of them do sell out. So there's a link at the bottom. You can get more information. But if you do plan on attending Clean and want to attend some of these special events, be sure and get your tickets now. All right, I did see that it looks like there might be a few more questions though, so I'm going to go back to my other screen and let's see. Looks like maybe just a lot of links. Okay, no questions, just a lot of a lot of links. But I think someone was asking if you're going to be at Clean Show, which I believe Atmosphere will have a booth there. Correct, Mike?
Yep, yep, we'll be there. And it
And
should be me. Not 1,000% sure yet, but it'll likely be me. So if you have any questions, feel free to come by and see us.
yeah, and maybe we'll see you at some of CLA special events as well, so you can network with some of our members on here or others that are not attending today. So, all right. So without any other questions, thank you, Mike, for sharing all of that information. Very helpful. Thanks to all of you for attending, and hope to see you at our next event. Have a great day.
Thanks all. Take care.